Hello, hello. That was a screwy intro. All right, well, hi everybody. How's it going? What is shaking? So I'm just going to get right into this. Got my reference materials, all that good to go. This is a project for a friend. I just did the basic sculpting of it, just the shape of it, and now I'm going to dig in. Jump on because it's been I think 4 days since I've been on last, so just see what's going on, how everybody's doing. Let's turn this on. Okay. I think I got that all set up. Who's that guy on your screen, Murph? Oh wait, you mean the headset? I do other live streams other than having something attached to my face. What's going on, man? It's the let's see, music. Bring that down just a bit. Yeah. Busy today, got a bad slice up by side. Hey man, thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Should be on for a good part of the day, so swing back in for sure. Or if I see one, I'll jump on. Okay, I do want to exaggerate this just a little bit more, so I think I'm going to bring this top part up a bit. Move some of this stuff out a bit. And then maybe just kind of brighten that up. There we go. That looks a bit better. Hey Pablo, what's up, man? How are you? Doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Doing a new 3D project for someone. It's going to be a poster print, which is pretty cool. I actually figured out how to do augmented reality over the weekend, which is pretty exciting. So I took there's a painting next to me that's about 4 feet by 3 feet, and I turned it into an infinity mirror, which is pretty wild. It's on my. I don't know if you're following me on Instagram, but I have a cool story about it. Put it in my Instagram stories. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm going to be turning a lot of things into augmented reality very soon. Pretty exciting. More things at HAP's headquarters. When do you guys have your Q&A or your updates? You guys changed it. It's not like at 3:30 anymore. We can get some overlaps going on here. These guys have some really interesting wrinkles. The cool thing about ZBrush is that you can easily kind of just get some form language going like that. I don't want to get too detaily, but I definitely want to get a sense of his weight. Get some wrinkles up in there. Thicken up his stomach a little bit. So this is kind of like a clay ad. What's going on here? Like, so all these like little detail lines right here. It's like adding clay ever so slightly and just layering it up and layering it up. And then I'm using the shift key here to smooth it out. So I'm adding a bunch of surface detail, probably like a couple of inches at a time. You know, if we were to look at this as real world units. And then I'm going back in here and smoothing this out. And I also have some reference images up here, so I'm being mindful of like where the anatomy sits, and you know where all these crazy folds come from, and where they go and where they start. Most importantly, so just thickening everything up here. Just drawing a line right there. It's working. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna bring that up just a hair and meet that. Okay. Also gonna load up my references. Where did these go? There they go. Okay. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay. Yassine, what's up, dude? How are you? Do I work for a studio? I work for my own studio, and I work for a few other studios as well. So, yes, my own and a few others that I freelance through. Hey, Angela, thank you so much. Appreciate it. How are you? Hey, what's up, Lindsay? How are you? What program am I using? It's a program called ZBrush. It's basically the app that all the studios use for character design. Pixar, and DreamWorks, and Nickelodeon. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm adding what is the equivalent of clay onto the character. So if I want more detail, if I want him to be a little bit more round, I'll just slap this clay on him, and it just adds and iteratively, fills the character out. I think I might have given him a little too much breakfast. Back this up a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate that. Then, like, the place where the eye is going to go is like over here. And here. Take that out a bit. Up the resolution one more time. Put it kind of like right here. At least suggest where the eye goes. Something like that. Bottom of the eye right here. We're just getting like a really loose idea. I'm just plotting areas to put things right now. We're not necessarily getting into too much detail because we have to make sure that our surface is ready to actually accept further details. Because right now it's not really a it's a surface that'll work for now to kind of carve in these details, but it definitely doesn't go in the direction of the details. So until we do that, we can't really get any good secondary or tertiary details off the bat. So we're just going to plot and then retopologize the surface geometry so that hopefully it wraps around the forms that we're exaggerating right now. So I'm just trying to get an area for the snout, the eyes, the mouth. Looks like the mouth goes like right here. Something like that. Dig in some nostrils. It's cool. The same tool that I'm using to carve or to add geometry will also carve into the clay as well, which is pretty awesome. Can you take layers off as well? Not sure what you mean by layers, but this does work in layers of resolution. So right now, the more detailed I get, the more detailed I'm going to make the surface, for example. So it's made up of all of these polygons, like each square. And right now it's subdivided pretty decently. It's not anywhere in the ballpark of where we need the surface to be to get like all the wrinkles and stuff like that, because it's only weighing in at the top right here at 202,000 polygons, which makes up the entire surface number of everything that's on here. But I can lower it, so if I need to make big moves right now, I can always bring that back. And it actually brings it from 202 down to 12,000, which is pretty cool. What's up, Ray? How you doing, man? So as you can see right here, when I lower the resolution of the surface, the eye socket, the nostrils lose a lot of detail. So we have to up this. So right now I have it up 3, which again is getting there, but nowhere near where we need it to be to actually get some nice definition in the surface. So again, right now, all I have is enough surface detail to just go in here with my build-up brush and start building up these forms. I have a bunch of like different pictures of rhinoceroses or rhinos, whatever, in front of me, and I'm just looking at some of the wrinkles these guys have, because they're full of wrinkles. They're awesome. It's a great study, and it's a great gig to do this for a friend. It'll eventually be a print, but right now I'm just getting the all the surface stuff out of the way. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. I keep pressing the wrong button though. Keep pressing the Windows button. So yeah, just adding some wrinkles, not too much definition off the bat. We're not going to get into skin textures yet. Maybe like in a few, but oh, that's some lovely words right there. So I'm going to make this sag down a little bit. Bring this up here a little bit. Just want a nice wrinkle going off the top here. And kind of sag this down a little bit. Oops, see? Pressing that wrong button. I don't know how I'm ever going to kick that habit. Let's use move topology. We're just going to move this back a little bit. I want to recess it down a little bit. I'll bring this down a bit. Bring this up a bit. Pull this back a little bit. He needs some thicker feet too, I'm thinking, but we'll get to that in a second. I really want to shape this this whole top part here. They have a very interesting hide. And by the looks of it, it just kind of like sticks up or something. Whoops. This. Get some muscles in there. I've got a little muscle chart going on here that shows some of the muscles. I'm not going to get too crazy with the surface, because I'm going to do something extra special with this scope. That's going to be pretty interesting, because there's some really new and awesome features in this program that I'm using here. Some brushes in particular that I'm going to be introducing. So while I am going to pay close attention to at least the anatomy to get the proportions right, I'm not going to get into musculature or anything like that. because it's going to be covered in something else. So, do you have a model of the rhino in front of you to copy? That's a great question. I actually have some reference materials of 3D rhinos. I have a chart that shows all of the musculature uh, and things like that. But one of the things I'm kind of really obsessed with right now in some of these pictures are some of the amazing overlap wrinkles that rhinos have, mainly in the neck and right about the hip region here. So like up here, there's like almost like a hoodie of just these amazing rolls of you know yummy details. So I'm looking at all of this and I'm building the surface based off of what I'm seeing here in these pictures, and just taking my own stylized take on it as well. Sounds like me with overlaying wrinkles. That's funny. As you get older, you start getting those, that's for sure. Kind of get like a 4-leg thing going on there. Again, not too expressive as far as the musculature underneath, but I definitely want the form language. So I'm at least going to put those in there. I definitely want these overlaps to exist. I'll put a little bit of stress in the knee here. Just a little bit. Desiree, my new sponsor. Thank you so much for sponsoring me yesterday. I really appreciate that. Shout out to Desiree. If you guys aren't following her already, please do so because she's a fantastic artist. Really good pencil renderer. Man, that eye that you did was just amazing. Really good job on that. You definitely have an eye for detail. Pun intended. But yeah, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate that. So right now I'm noticing that the legs were just a little too small, so I'm just going to adjust these a bit because he is a big dude, you know, kind of looks like he's not supporting himself really well, especially with this these front little twig legs here. Definitely skipped out on leg day. So let's change that a bit. Kind of introduce the same kind of form language I did with the back legs a bit. They are a little bit different, so we're going to change it up a bit. Yeah, I'm a heavy punster, just so you know. Always looking for puns. There's an involuntary mechanism that exists now in my thinking. When I'm ever reading something or someone is saying something to me, I'm like, where's the pun? Must find the pun. Just take this move tool a little bit. We'll just move this up like so. I'll dig back into it in a sec. Oops. Okay. Bringing this leg up a bit. Does need a little bit of an expressed forearm, so let's do that. A little bit out back here. I don't want it to bow out too much, but I want it to look stocky. And again, the stylized part will come in a little bit when I add this new brush on there, which is going to make it look awesome. Hey, Deanna, how are you? so much for hanging out. I think you had a family member in here earlier. She may be still in here. Thanks so much for hanging out. So yeah, again, we're getting just a little bit of form language, but not obsessing about the in and out points of the muscles and stuff like that. That's it's a little much for what we're gonna do because we're gonna be disguising the surface in a little bit. There was some of the chicken Ross. Oh, thanks. Well, thank you so much for spending a little time here. I appreciate that. Filling out some details, getting some wrinkles and rolls in there. Well, some rolls, not wrinkles yet. But Ray, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Super appreciate that. I think I messed up where I want to put the eye. I kind of want to exaggerate it a little bit. I don't know if I want to take the actual top part of his head and stylize it. It's not gonna. Well, it's gonna look like a rhino, but it's not gonna look like your average everyday rhino. So I think I'd like to bring this part down a little bit. Maybe exaggerate some of the ears. I'm working in symmetry mode, so the cool thing about this mode here is that when I move the ear around on the left side, it happens to the right side as well. So it's just fun to kind of exaggerate the forms a little bit and just kind of take some artistic license and see if you can come up with something different, Yeah, thanks again, Ray. That was very generous of you. Appreciate that. So I'm looking at this. It looks like the nostrils really kind of stick out a little bit. Kind of like that exaggeration on the actual bull. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit and bring down the lower part as well. And maybe just really exaggerate this. Maybe make it a little small, and maybe bring the whole eye socket down a little bit. Maybe that'll help it a little bit. Maybe up. We're just going to experiment for a second. I just want to see where I can kind of tweak it, where it won't look cheesy or low towards the cheek here would work really well. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. One of the things I'm really looking forward to, I was talking about this brush earlier, is I've done a couple of pieces within minutes, and this brush has literally changed. Well, it's changed a lot of people's art lives. For those of you that don't know, this program here is probably the best sculpting app on the planet. It's just really hard to come up with something that is comparable to this. Again, it's used in the industry. Pixar uses this, DreamWorks for rapid ideation and character design and things like that. But this new brush that came out, man, just to give you an idea of what this is about, I'm going to switch to this in a second. And what I'm going to do with the surface of the character in a little bit, once I'm satisfied with how everything's looking, is I'm going to go around it very, very painstakingly and kind of trace around and start attaching these awesome looking brushes, or it's almost like a suit of armor, if you will. I have to actually change this into an actual poly mesh, so I'm going to do that really quickly, and then hopefully this works. I've had a couple of instances where it didn't work, but the idea is to just paint these masks around the surface, and then it actually projects this surface on top of it. Now it's a little too intense, so I'm going to bring the intensity down a little bit, but you'll see in a second with the intensity down how you can see how this can very quickly just by, and of course I'm going to take a little bit more time than what I'm doing right now, but basically this is hugging onto the surface of the rhino, and I'm going to do this very, very nice kind of like almost like a flower arrangement on his head, a bunch of petals and things like that. So once I'm done with the actual, whoops, once I'm done with the basic shape of this guy, I'm going to go into that brush, and we're going to have some fun. Because I've done a few things already. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I do have a couple of behind the scenes things that I've been doing with augmented reality and things like that. Really excited about where that is going. And I have a painting that I did to the right of me here. Where's my, oops. There it is. So if I, oh, that's not working. Okay, there I am. Okay. Behind me right here is this painting. It's about like 4 feet tall by 2.5 feet wide. I turned it into this like, I turned it into this 3D mirror, like an infinity mirror. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before, but if you go onto my Instagram right now, you can see it. I actually recorded it, and it's pretty awesome. Actually, I might have it up here. I can deviate from this really quickly and show it to you if I did not close it. Did I close it already? I guess I already closed it. Okay. Oh well. Some other time. But yeah, getting into augmented reality, and that's pretty exciting. I can't do 1D Rhino, so I'm way behind. That's funny. There's an actual um, jewelry app called Rhino. Oh, thanks, Desiree. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I think I'm going to make the toes on different layers. So I'm going to dig into this a little bit and just kind of make these like little pockets for them. I'm also going to up the details just a little bit more. So I'm going to subdivide this even more. So now we're dealing with 808,000 as opposed to, I think, 202. And doing that just allows us to really get a little bit more detail oriented, so I can cut these pockets out for the nails, you know, and get these up a little bit. And then do the same thing over here. And hopefully I have symmetry on. I do. That's such a godsend to be able to work on one side and have it do it to the other. Sometimes I forget to turn it on and I have to do what I did over again. There we go. Just smooth that out. That's good for now. Again, I'm not going to be doing too crazy details, but enough to get the job done, that's for sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this because I haven't saved it at all since I've started. And that was a while ago. Let's see, save as. We will save this under. Call this. All right. We'll get back to those toes. Let's see. Let's add an eyeball. So I'll append a sphere here. Sphere. For the front view here, grab the sphere, and then also just scale this way down. That'll be our rhino eyeball. Just put that in its respective place. Scale that down just a hair. Poke that out just a little bit. And then what we'll do is we'll duplicate this. And then with our trusty Z plugin here, what do we got? Where is it? Subtool Master. We're going to mirror and then pen that as a new subtool on the x-axis. And then that'll just give us our right eye right there. So that way we don't have to like mix and match and make sure it's perfect. Sometimes the computer does that for us. Okay. So now that we have this level of detail, I'm just going to look at this eye here because I have a little bit of a reference here of some rhinos right here. And I just want to take a look at what's going on with the socket. So I'm going to grab this like carving tool, which is really neat. And considering we have a decent amount of topology, I'm just going to go in here and make sure I got the right layer selected there. Okay. Go in here and kind of cut into that. Looks like it kind of bows down a little bit. Dr. Cooper, thank you so very much for the award. I appreciate that. So it looks like it's got all these like striations coming down, and then there's like a pocket right here for like the bottom of the lid itself. Just to start things off a little bit. I'm also just going to get rid of this. We don't need that. Okay. So we got this and that. And then just kind of, I'm going to mask this part right here. Oops. Oh, I wonder if I could just make an eyelid like that. Holy moly. Is it that easy? I never thought about making an eyelid with this. Oh, wow, I totally can. How cool is that? Okay. That's a game changer. I'm going to do it on the eye, though, because if I select the eye, oops, and just hide everything else, I can probably just draw it right on there. Yeah, something like that. Try one more time. This is totally new to me. I've never made an eyelid like this before, but I've been dying to use this new brush that allows me to just create this surface. It looks like it may not do it for me. Let's see what happens here. Oops. Over here. Okay, so it's going to form itself over here. That's really interesting. So can I just move this inside of the surface? That would be really neat. Like if I did this and then hid this. Oops. Did I do that right? Oh, this. Oh, wow. There's a whole bunch of things here that are going on. Let's see. Ideally, I'd like to hide that and just push that in. So I'm going to move everything on the inside and hopefully not affect that awesome eyelid that I have right there. Let's see. Is that happening over there too now? Okay. Move topology. So I'm going to move this just, whoops, on the inside of the lid a bit. I don't know how this is going to fan out, but kind of want to push it on the inside of the surface because I don't want any of that other residual stuff kind of poking out, you know. Something like that. Poke this stuff out. Oops. Up, up, up. There we go. And then this part back. Let's see if I can actually get away with that. I could have, of course, I could have masked it as well. I should have done it like that. But that actually looks pretty good for just kind of experimenting. I'm really impressed with that. So I came over here and just turned this back into a regular mask pen, and then masked this off, starting from here. Oops. Let me just solo this. Turn this into a lasso. Oops. Something like that. And then mask that off completely by going into this move tool again and just moving the stuff that isn't masked, which will make it a little bit easier for us. Because now we can freely just move this and not affect the eyelid, which is what I should have done to begin with, but there we go. Cool. Yeah, I like that. That worked pretty well. All right. I'm just going to smooth that up a little bit. That back there. Looks like we've got just this one little issue on the outside, so I'm just going to mask that off a little bit and just smooth that top part a little bit. I don't want to affect the eyelid itself. There we go. And then we can also just start bringing some of this eyebrow in a bit and go over it. Start moving outside of these a bit. We bring this eye bag out a little bit. A couple of wrinkles in there. We'll do that in a second. But I'm also going to grab this eyeball again. I really like the way that came out, so I'm just going to do one more eyelid, the bottom one. So do that by grabbing this. Oh, excuse me. Actually, might even work better if I just did it the way I did it before. Have it wrap on the outside. Let's see. Maybe if yeah. And kind of do this, let that happen, and then tuck everything in again. So let me just mask this. Whoop. Go back into normal mask. Lasso here. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out, and thanks for the gifts. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I just masked off the bottom part of the lid that I don't want affected by this move here, and I'm going to move everything else in here like so, and that should give us our bottom lid, roughly speaking. Foamy, what's up, dude? Thanks so much for hanging out. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So now we're just going to use this topology tool to move the lids back and forth until we have it in a spot where we like it. There we go. I'll move this one in a little bit and down. And then notice how we're getting that lower eyelid wrinkle just because we had that extra surface that we're pulling there. So that worked out for us pretty good. Oops, let me just bring this a little bit lower. Yeah, see that lid is, yeah, that's cool. That is a game changer. I used to just copy the eyeball and then just slice eyelids out of those, but this is a much easier way to work for sure. Lag test. What day is it today? Last time I checked, it was Monday. 34. All right. Oops. Let's go back in here with this clay buildup tool a little bit and just build this up ever so slightly. I'm also going to increase the surface resolution. So we're going to go in another iteration, and that'll bring us now from 800,000 to 3.275 million. So now we've got some crazy surface uh, fidelity going on here, where we can really start, grabbing some of these wrinkles that I'm seeing here around the eye, and just, having at some nice details going on here. The reason I ask is because your response time seemed really quick from when I hit the hello button. Yeah, yeah. Hey, thanks for the high five award, man. Appreciate that. That's what I heard too. They fixed the lag, which is pretty awesome. Definitely makes for better conversation. So I'm just gonna puff this back out a little bit, and then we'll dig into it again. Go into this eye right here. You know what I should do actually is hide all of these and just split hidden. That way I can have the lids on their own layers. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. I'm going to hide a bunch of these. Oops, did I do that right? I don't think I did that right. Let me see what's going on here. Makes tremendous difference for you. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Yep. That I agree with. Okay, so it looks like everything is still there. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Oh, I see what happened. Let me just merge down here. Yes. All right. So that's back there. This app road's becoming top shelf in my book. What app? Are you talking about Haps? Yeah, it's awesome. I love this app. It's amazing. I'm not sure what happened with that. Oh, right, because the rhino's up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this eye that I just created and just put it. All the fine tuning is. Oh yeah, all they do is listen, which is amazing. What more could you ask for? So I'm just going to move this back just a little bit because I noticed this is popping through the surface a little bit. So I'm just going to take the bottom lid and the top lid and really just make sure that those are in. There we go. Oops. It's all in there. Okay. To his elbow, maybe. That would be a very awkward thing to do. But I am going to duplicate it and then go into Z plugin and mirror on the x-axis, append as a new subtool. I don't want it to be the same subtool. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that going on. And we can ditch this one eye right here. That was just a placeholder. Okay. Of course it is. You kidding me? Love you, Foamy. Okay, so we've got a pretty good eye right there. We're not going to get too crazy with details and wrinkles and all that stuff yet. I do want to move back to a lower resolution here just for a second because I want to concentrate on this bottom part here a little bit. I'm going to pull this down with our move topological brush here. And then down. I think I want, whoops, back here, hold down Alt. Do something like that. Get this first range of wrinkles going so it goes into here. We'll pull this down a little bit. Out. Really want these wrinkles to be accented by the by the light too. Let's go into the light a bit and just kind of change this around a bit just so I can see some of these wrinkles a bit better. Will this be a medium for some? Yeah, I'm doing a range of augmented reality stuff, man. I'm really excited about this. I mentioned this a couple of times, but if you didn't know, I have a painting to the right of me that I've just converted into augmented reality, and it's on my Instagram stories. So if you want to go to CS Murphy Art on Instagram and check out my stories, I have it up there probably for another, like, I don't know, 10 hours or so. I posted it recently, but I'm really happy with it. I'm really excited about what I can do with actual physical paintings and augmenting them with these digital technologies. But this piece right here is going to be a piece for a friend that I'm also going to be doing, some type of virtual reality thing here. So it'll be a nice print of a rhino, maybe 20 by 20. But then when you use your phone, it comes out of the wall. It's textured differently. It's pretty cool. Are you using Adobe Aero? No, I'm using Spark AR at the moment. I have used Adobe Aero, and it's very, very impressive. I really, really like that one as well. But at the moment, I'm exploring Spark AR, mainly because you can actually test the filters in Instagram, which is nice. So you connect your phone to your computer while you're using Spark AR, and when you want to test something out like what I just did, I'll send it to Instagram and it'll send me a link to the filter, and then I'm able to test it out and see how well it works. And it's a really good workflow. I absolutely love it. I just need to figure out a way how to now take that one app that I created with the piece of artwork and have someone else be able to trigger it off. Because right now it's in an authoring mode and it seems to be just exclusive to the app itself. So I'm curious to know like how I can pipeline this so people can actually use the app as well, because the idea is to sell the artwork with the augmentation in the artwork. So while it looks visually pleasing on its own, you'll be able to also use your app and see it move around and look a lot more three-dimensional. So my only qualm is the user needs the app to see the features. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? No. Right now, from what I'm seeing, yes. And I think you might actually even need the app approved through Instagram or something in order for others to see it. But it just seems really weird that they would give us access to this tech, but not be able to find a way for the user to look at it without having to have Spark AR or Adobe Aero on their phone. So that's the next thing I'm exploring. I already figured out how to do the actual, you know, augmented reality, which I'm elated about. And now it's like, okay, how do I get this into people's phones so they can view it and enjoy it as well? Because it's going to be on all of my art. There's not going to be one piece of artwork within the next year that does not have an augmented reality component to it. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. But yeah, that is a qualm, and I don't like it. I don't like being a an Oculus Quest user and having to log into Facebook. I mean, it is what it is, but in a perfect world, I don't think too many people would want to do that. But I'm having such a blast in virtual reality that I'm like, all right, whatever, just get me in there. So I'm super happy being in VR and making worlds in VR and characters and things that I can print out and stuff. It's a heck of a time to be alive and creating. Foamy, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. Have a lovely day. Smooth that out a little bit. And then I'm also just going to use this Damien Standard tool. We'll deselect this mask we just made and then just really go in here and really carve a nice mouth shape into that. I'm going to take the intensity, just bring that up a little bit, carve that in a bit more, just so it really, really, really does its thing. And let's see. He's got tiny mouth, so we'll just do something like this. There we go. And just use a build up brush. And just bring just a little bit of a build up here. Just for the mouth shape itself. There we go. Let's bring this a little bit more forward. I'm also just going to select the mouth part because it just seems like a lot of his anatomy is in the way. So just to do this a little bit more effortless, we can just make selections like that. Grab this Damien Standard tool again. Really just kind of get that cut in there. So this is where I'm going to have to start screwing around with the surface topology because, again, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't exactly a surface to work with that will give you all the details that you want because sometimes the flow of the geometry works contradictory to the shapes and angles you want to go with. So I think right now I'm good with the details. Hopefully that's enough for ZBrush to retopologize this in a way that works a little bit more substantial. So I'm just gonna finish off some of these shapes here a little bit, just to really dial in this rhino, and then I'm going to clean up the surface a little bit. ears here, kind of treat these a bit. Smooth these out. Okay. Yeah, right now that's a little to kind of inflate these a little bit, just so that the surfaces on either side of the walls on the other side of, or on opposite side of the surfaces aren't necessarily like rubbing together. We'll fix that in a little bit. Right now that's looking pretty good. Puff that out a bit. There we go. Behind that. All right. Looking pretty good. Getting some wrinkles and stuff like that in there. Okay. Oops. Pressing that button. Let's see. Let's do it right there. Let's say it's a little stylized. I don't like the tips of the ears. I might change those ever so slightly. Let's cut those. Get rid of the mask. Clay buildup. There we go. Bring this back up to max resolution here. And get some of these forms built up. There's some wrinkles in the backs of their ears because they kind of like cone out a little bit before they stick out of their heads, which is kind of cool. So I'm just gonna see if I can get that going. There's some form build up. There we go. Just smooth that out a bit. Again, I don't even think we're going to see this, but I am interested in the form language of this guy. There we go. Let's see. Round these out a little bit. Fill this in a little bit too. There we go. It's interesting. They have these like little tips, like these little points to the front of their mouths here. Also going to just build this up a little bit too. We'll get a nice bottom lip line right there. Because when we change the surface of this in a second, we want to make sure that the reader puts these lines into consideration when they're rebuilding. Oops. All right. Just kind of get some surface details on here. I'm going to go back in here with a brush that actually has a bunch of really cool kind of wrinkles to help everything along here a bit. There we go. Again, I don't want to get too crazy with it, but I definitely want the surface to look like skin, you know? Let's put that out. Let's see, these things just kind of come out, so I'm just going to do a radial kind of selection right there. Oops. I'm actually also going to mask off the horn. That'll probably be easier to get a lip there, you know? So I'm masking this. The surface doesn't get affected by the brush, which is pretty cool. Everything that's in the dark there. Something like this. Something like that. There we go. All right, and then maybe we'll just select the opposite of this. And what I can do is I can take the horn. We'll just center this thing right here. Actually, we're going to use this tool instead. Yeah. So we'll take this guy. And I just want to push it down a little bit. It just seems like it's coming out of the surface, you know? Oops. I'm pressing the wrong button. So if I unselect that, and go back into this, there we go, and we'll hide that. So yeah, it looks like I got a little too crazy with this. It overlapped on accident, but we did definitely get the result that we wanted. I just need to backtrack this. I made that move. There it is. On the front view to make sure that we're actually selecting the center of this here and moving it down. Down like that, and then back. Up like this. There we go. So now it looks like it's coming out of the skin. And then we can also overlap this a little bit more. We can screw around with the build up on the back here too. Yeah, that worked. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Go to the left view. Just make another masked selection. I'm going to make this one a little bit more over here just so we have more surface over here because it looks like we ran out. Just build this part up a little bit. Oops. Again, everything that's masked isn't going to be affected by the brush, which is pretty awesome. And then we'll do the same thing. I'll select the opposite of this here. And then we'll just use this tool again. We'll center it, close it up, and just bring this down like so. Yeah, there it is. And hit the save button. All right. So far, so good. You guys still alive out there? Let's see. We got some wrinkles coming up here, so let's just build that up over here. There we go. Yeah. Click in the front there. Let's see. Okay. Just over here a bit. Excuse me. Go. How far are we in here? We're in 32. Okay. Hey, thanks, Angela. I appreciate that. A work in progress. There we go. Coming about. How long does it take you to complete a project like this? Maybe 10 hours. Once I'm done with it here, I'll bring it into another program and I'll make it look photorealistic, and I'll probably end up rigging this as well and like put like a bone system in it because I think I want it moving somewhat. Oh yeah, I love doing this. Time just flies. Stuff like this. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Lindsay. Kindly. Let's save this, and then I'm going to bring it up one more iteration. Let's see how much my computer hates me after doing this. Let's see. So we're gonna go from 3.335 million polygons. Oh god, probably to like 16. Or is it subdividing times 4, 3 times 4, 4? Yeah, so at least 12 million. Let's see what happens here. Divide. Subdividing geometry to 12.933 million quad polygons. Did it do it already? Oh, it did. So we're at 13 million, including the eyes. That's some crazy stuff. All right. Let's find a decent brush. Let's go back to our standard brush here. Standard, and we're going to pick out an alpha that kind of resembles rhino skin. Let's see if there's anything here right off the bat we could use. Probably not. Doesn't look like it. So Let's just go to our alphas and pick something here. Alphas, leathery skin 99. Bumpy skin, fall off sharp, leathery. Let's try this one. Feeling pretty good about that one. Okay. Let's see what that does. And we're also going to use a, not dots, but a drag rectangle. Let's see. No? Nothing? No? Oh, the intensity's set to 2. I should probably just crank that, huh? Let's try that again. There we go. I don't know if this is the right one. Let's see. This one. There we go. That's more like it. Hold down Alt. And then we'll also just kind of move this around a bit. So right now I'm just kind of going into this mask that made up all of this super detail and just going back in there and just adding just a little bit more. Just kind of cleaning it up a little bit, adding some of my own kind of forms and wrinkles and things like that. Go back in here with the standard brush. Where did my standard brush go? Oh, right there. Oop. And then go back in here with this drag rectangle. Let's see. Let's undo that. Yeah, it's a little too crazy, I would say. I'm just going to back this up a bunch, actually. Okay, there we go. Oops. Mm. It's going to take a second because I have to undo all of this stuff. I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead because I'm not even doing this type of level of detail for this. This is a different. This is going to be treated completely different. Oh, excuse me. Okay, there we go. That's good right there. I don't know why it's freezing up, but any day now. Actually, you know what? I'm already almost 2 hours in. I'm going to jump on a little bit later, but I want to thank everybody for coming here and keep me company and all the gifts and everything. Shout out to Lindsay and Angela, Foamy Homie. Thanks for keeping me company. Really appreciate it. And I'll be back on a little later. So I hope to see you then. Take it easy.